Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is your host Colin, and today we are going to be giving you a beginner's guide to Gambit Prime. Now, before we get started, as a disclaimer, this is a guide more towards solo players and hunters. So if you're not a hunter and you're not a solo player, not all the tips in this video will work for you, but there's still some very helpful things in here for you to know. Now I've got that out of the way, let's get this started. Now, before we go any further into the video, I'm going to show you the loadout that I recommend using, and if you already have a preferred loadout for Gambit or Gambit Prime, or you want to do some testing around, I will leave a timestamp of where you can skip to, but I'll just give you my preferred loadout right now. So, my favorite Gambit loadout for Gambit Prime is 10 pieces, or any hand cannon will do. Badlander, because it's a rapid-fire frame shotgun with moving target. Those are my favorite perks to have on a shotgun, but any rapid fire frame shotgun will work. Or if you like to stay more in the back and camp, a sniper. Fate Cries Fool is one of my favorites. Foul, excuse me. And now, I like the Wardcliff Coil a lot for this, just because it does a lot of damage. You can fight multiple enemies at once, clear out areas a lot faster. But also, the Thunderlord is another good option, in my opinion. And now, next, for super, I like to go Night Stalker with Vortex Grenade, Marksman's Dodge, Triple Jump, just because you can use it to evade enemies, jump over cover. It's really helpful, in my opinion, the best of jumps. And then also, I like Way of the Trapper best with Night Stalker, but that's just me, maybe. And now next, for exotics, if you're going to use any, I don't run exotics in Gambit Prime per se, just because I don't really feel the need of them. But if you're going to run them, a couple good ones are Graviton, Forfeit, and Orpheus Rigs. Now, the next thing you're going to have to decide on is synthesizers. Now, each one will have a different thing. I'll read them all out to you. So this is Reaper. Perks, that are achieved while in Gambit Prime playlists. They unlock as more pieces from the same Gambit Prime armor are equipped. And now the perks for this are, at the beginning of it, High Value Tracker. Damaging a high value target or non-primeval Ultra marks it and weakens it for its allies. Now if you get a 6-stack of Reaper, you'll get rapidly defeating multiple combatants drops special ammo for allies, which is nice, so that way you can keep your shotgun going. Long-lasting flavor. Modes you generate have an increased lifetime, which is nice, because I have a problem of my modes dying out fast. And that requires a Reaper stack of 10. And now, major rewards. Defeating powerful enemies grants a temporary surge of grenade recharge rate. Reaper stack of 5. Now, if you're a Warlock, that sounds pretty nice. But if you're a Hunter, you are more using your dodge than your grenade. Next, let's go with Invader. Now, you can't stack multiples at the same time. I should probably say that now. First one, while invading, ammo slowly trickles into your kinetic and energy weapons over time, which is nice. I haven't used this perk yet since I try to stay more collecting modes than invading, but it's still helpful. And now Lethal Defense grants improved evasion over shield, which is nice just because it feels like the overshield's kind of weaker in Gambit Prime. Kill Mongrel. Each guardian defeated while invading grants a temporary damage bonus once you return to your own arena, which is nice. Requires an invader stack of 10. And then Bank Robber. Invading locks the enemy's bank. Stand near the locked bank to drain motes. Now, the motes usually auto-drain, but if they don't, or you want them to drain faster, I bet that's a pretty nice perk. That requires an invader stack of 10. Now let's see. Invader. Okay, let's go with Sentry next. I'll finish off with Collector. Now, Sentry. Unbearable Strike. Multi-kills grant a damage buff against Taken. Clears when you damage a Taken combatant stacks up to 5. So that is pretty nice, getting 5 times the damage against Taken. Safe and Sound. Standing near the bank triggers health regeneration, which is pretty nice if you do my favorite tactic, which is spam blockers. Invader tracks Damaging an invader marks them for your teammates, which is pretty nice just because the invaders can sometimes be annoying if they've got those new exotics. Light of the defender. You and nearby allies are granted maximum resilience, mobility, and recovering while in the Well of Light. Then we'll get to that in just a minute. Requires Sentry, level 15. Now last, most certainly not least, Collector. By the way, guys, all these have a 30-minute time lock on them, so make sure you, once you equip them, you start playing Gambit Prime. Inheritance. Drop a portion of your carried motes on death, which I don't know if this works in Invasion 2, but that can be a bonus for your teammates, but if you're invading and this happens, that could kind of be bad. Unbearable armor. Excuse me. Rapidly picking up 5 motes grants an overshield. Requires level 6, which is nice if you're something other than a Titan. Cashback. Cashback. Ugh, words. Gain kinetic and energy ammo whenever you bank, which is pretty sweet just because I found myself running out of shotgun ammo a lot just because that's my favorite weapon to use. High yield savings. Requires stack 15, and it means carry up to 20 motes. Okay, let me just repeat that. 20 motes. This enables you to send giant blockers to your enemy team. Now, if you've got a habit of grinding for motes and defeating the yellow health and the high value targets, I personally think Collector is the thing for you. And then also, if you invade a lot, then Invader's good. And the other Sentry is pretty good if you're staying around your bank and knocking out blockers. And then Reaper, I think that seems like an all-around, so it's pick and choose, a personal preference, and what you do best. And now, let's get over to the rest of the video. Now that you've got your loadout picked and your synthetic mode picked, now it's time to go over the basics. Now, just like with regular Gambit, it's simple. Collect, bank, win. But there are a couple other key factors that are different, including mote stealing. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I know what I'm getting stolen from, when I'm getting stolen, and all that is different things. And now, there are 2 ways that motes can be stolen from you. Whenever the enemy sends 2 or more blockers at a time against you, or whenever an invader happens and they kill one of your teammates or damage. It's weird how it works. I haven't exactly figured it out, but I think it has something to do with damaging opponents. Now, whenever this happens, you'll have to do one of 2 things. Either A, kill the invader, or B, make it so it's only 1 blocker in your area. So that's why, if you look at the gameplay at the bottom left corner, it keeps saying your enemy has sent a blocker over, and whenever I see that, I try and run back over and defeat the blocker, just because, as you can see here shortly, they're going to send 2 blockers over, and then you can see that white pulsating thing from the bank. That means that they're stealing our motes, and they'll go straight from our bank into theirs. So that's not good at all. And now the next thing I want to touch up on is how you should effectively use your loads that you have. Now, if you're going with the hand cannon shotgun Wardcliff style that I picked with you, you're going to be wanting to find special ammo as much as possible. Now, if there are mods, if I remember correctly, that allow you to drop special ammo sooner, and you're going to want to pick up special ammo whenever you see it. It will help you a lot. And now, also, I should give you guys a word of advice if you're invading. It feels like the invaders' shields are not as strong in Gambit Prime as they are in normal Gambit, and I think that's also why they have a synthetic mode for that. So do be wary whenever you're invading that you will probably have a higher chance of dying, so be on your toes. And I want you, in your invading, is to try and pick people off one by one, so you want to try and separate the players around if you can do that, because they'll usually stay together, but if you get lucky, you'll have someone that gets scared and they run off, so you want to do that person alone, unless they go into a cave where you know that you're the only way in and out. Next thing you guys are going to want to do is, I call this blocker spam. So whenever you are back at your base, I want you guys to focus on sending medium and small blockers over. This will waste the enemy's special ammo and their heavy ammo and their kinetic ammo, because they'll get annoyed with having to do them all. So if they're like me, you get annoyed and you use your shotgun ammo a lot. So that's why I want you guys to spam with small blockers. Anyway, we're going to invade again. As you can see, they're all into one little area, which is pretty nice. Pretty helpful. And I go to cut off this one guy because I see he's going to the bank. He's got 13 modes, so as you can see, cut them off and pick them off one by one, and I wasn't able to get this other guy. But you get my point. You want to cut them off and cut them apart. If you can break your enemy into multiple single players versus just one big force, then you'll have an easier time eating them. Especially if you're lower power like me. Okay, what else is there to go over? Next thing I can think to tell you is don't be afraid to use your super. Since you have to get 100 kills to be able to even bank, 100 modes, you'll be able to get your super usually around twice depending on how aggressive you play. And second, don't be afraid to go after the invaders. This is because you want to get them stop moat stealing from you as fast as possible. So don't be afraid to play aggressively on this. I know if you play a normal Gambit, you usually try and hide and all that, so you don't have to worry about bank stealing. But you want to steal and kill as much as possible. Next thing, learn how to use the map. Spend some time, not necessarily just playing aggressively and playing well, but just go around and feel how the map goes, and feel what feels the fastest way to get from point A to point B, what feels the most straight line, and just all these different things. And like if you see those things moving around, those little boxes, they're great cover for whenever the invader spawns on the other side. In the top area of the depot, so that way you can use them as cover, moving cover, and still be able to do some picking on them. And now, here is where the Warcliffe coil comes into handy. Now, it doesn't come into handy in this particular play, but if you can get the enemies all grouped up and they won't run away, that's when Wardy, as my nickname for him, comes into super handy, because you can just wipe them all out. And if you don't get them somehow, they're using cheat codes or you're too low of power. And I know it's console, but there have been some mysterious plays on there, so anything happens. Warcliffe coil is amazing. Okay, now let's see. There's the invader. Invader's dead. And as you can see, I used that moving box to get to point A to point B. And here's what is known as the Well of Light. If you stand in this, it gives you Primeval Slayer from the original Gambit, so it'll be much easier to defeat your Primeval. And you might be wondering where they spawn, and they spawn on the last wizard that you kill, because you have to kill 3 wizards, each of a different elemental shield. And I'll try to point that out to you guys whenever I see it again, but they each, one's void, one's arc, and one's solar. So, right there, as you can see, it's got a blue shield, it's like an arc shield, where you're going to need arc damage to try and get that buff. And since he died right there, the shield spawns right there, and if you stay inside that shield, you'll get continuous stacks of Primeval Slayer. And the more rounds it takes to kill the Primeval, the more that stack goes up. Anyway, if your person's invading, it's kind of handy to have a shotgun on you, just because it can usually save your bacon a couple times, but not on that one. Anyway, once we're back on the field, the other thing I want to try to emphasize to you guys is, even if you are a solo player, this is very much a team round, so you've got to try and help your teammates a lot. Number one thing that I've noticed helps a lot, even if you're feeling like you shouldn't do it, is just go over and revive your teammates whenever they go down. It's a simple thing, I know, but it really can save you guys a lot of time, and time is something that you have pretty much unlimited of, but whenever it comes to invading a Primeval, you really want to be the first one to defeat them. And now that the enemy is just about to catch up with us and get their Primeval going, it's going to go into some back and forth plays. And also, Warcliffe coil comes in handy here because, like I said, you only have like 20 seconds, if I remember correctly, is the max, to defeat your Primeval. So you're always going to be wanting to send as much damage against them as fast as possible. So just spam with Warcliffe coil. And now here again is where Wardy comes into hand. Now, you can get them all knocked out. And if they're in their Well of Light, where they already got a damage buff and all that, especially their Warlocks, and they can use 2 Wells of Light, it can really be handy to have a Warcliffe coil on hand. And right there, as you can see, I wasted my super, wasn't a very good shot. So that's something you want to try and avoid, is using your supers out of nerve impulses. I just fired out of him. I fired at him, excuse me, because he was an Arc Strider. And if he saw me, I knew that I wanted some sort of safety against him, but I didn't need it, so that's kind of a waste. Anyway, we're moving to the next area of ads. As you can see, there's ammo all over the ground, so I go for a little bit of an ammo break and try and capture some ammo so that way I can go into the next boss and beat him. And here we go. We are going to the next damage phase, and as you can see, I'm staying into the Well of Light. But even if you leave it, you'll have, I don't remember how long, I'm guessing it's around like 5 to 7 seconds of time that you'll get the Primeval Slayer bonus, but without the Well of Light. And you'll be able to do not as much damage, but you'll still be able to do damage to the Primeval, so that's pretty helpful to know. Okay, as you can see, we have the lead currently, but this is the thing about Gambit, is why you want to. My next tip is once you get past getting to your Primeval, is you want to spam invaders. Even if they're not really good players and they can only get 1 or 2 kills, you still want to get that, just because the person who keeps their opponent's Primeval down longer, is the person who usually ends up winning. So if you can spam invasions on them, they'll have to A, worry about you, and B, worry about their Primeval, so they're going to be splitting their fire between you guys, and they have a higher chance of running out of ammo. So it's pretty helpful to have, usually this way I think about it, if you are going to be playing with a team, is 1 person is an invader, 2 people collect motes, and 1 person worries about your bank. And once you go around, you all take turns invading. Okay, and as you saw, they invaded us, so they got our Primeval help up a little bit. And this is, again, where Warcliffe Coil and Shotgun comes into handy, because you can see each of my shots does between 1 and 2,000 to 3,000 damage a piece. If I'm using my Shotgun, it's 3,000. If I'm using my Warcliffe Coil, it's 2,000 each, and that's because it's the lower one. But anyway, Shotgun and Warcliffe Coil is my favorite loader by far. And there you go, we got the W. And let's see. Think of the Primevals as raid bosses to a degree. They have a lot of health, and if you look here, whenever I look at my stats, I did 15 million damage to the dude. So think of this as a drawn-out version of Gambit/raid. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. God bless you, your families, and your channels. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys later. Bye. Bye now.